Hello, my name is Daniel Paisley. Sitting next to me is Patrick Newell. In light of recent events at this year's Tulsa Tough Category 3 race, we would like to issue the following statement. 6 months ago, 3 friends, myself, Patrick, and Chris, decided to start a training and racing blog in service to the idea of animal spirit. It quickly became evident that we had wildly different opinions about science, technology, history, and facts. It seemed natural then to solve the issue of who is right through competition. We are racers, and this blog is in fact about training and racing. So it was decided that each of us would go our separate ways, follow our own advice, train for a period of time, and then test ourselves against each other, thus proving the validity of the winner's training technique. Racing against each other presented a number of logistical problems based on where we all live and our current racing categories. So, because Chris DeRoy was a licensed Cat 3 living in Oklahoma, because Patrick, who had not been racing competitively in years, was interested in downgrading from a 2 to a 3, because I was interested in upgrading from a 4 to a 3, and finally, because Tulsa Tough is arguably the greatest crit race in America, if not the world, we decided to race in this year's Cat 3 field at the 2017 Tulsa Tough. Knowing that the race would sell out quickly, this was in January, we contacted 2 casual acquaintances, Brad and Tony, who lived in Oklahoma, who had valid Cat 3 licenses but did not intend to race. We asked them if we could register using their licenses, provided we transferred ownership of the registrations into our own names prior to the race. Both said yes, provided we did in fact do that. In spite of our best intentions, we failed to do that. While it's tempting to offer a more thorough and detailed explanation, we won't. The bottom line is, we failed. We put Brad and Tony in a precarious position that has since embroiled them in a tedious and problematic controversy. For that, we are very, very sorry. But we did not steal their identity. And while our plan was maybe tenuous and mildly impractical, it was both legal and reasonable. We just didn't do it right. Meanwhile, in the lead up to the race, because we are preoccupied with racing against each other rather than trying to compete in the classic sense, strategy, tactics, podium finishes, etc., we invented knife fights. Knife fights are a race inside the race, the outcome of which is determined by whoever animates the race most. With the knife fight concept in mind, and because the crowds at Tulsa were so large, electric, and contagious, Patrick got swept up in the moment and forgot what he was there to do. Animate the race, not win the race. As soon as the race was over, Patrick understood that he had gone too far. With this in mind, and given our stated goals, Patrick had no intention of collecting the prize money and or standing on the podium. Patrick was never required to drug test. Tony's name was never called. Patrick has had several conversations with USAC in the days since Tulsa, and the issue of drug testing has never come up. We have also directly contacted USADA, and they confirm absolutely and unequivocally that the drug test was never requested. The story about dodging a test is erroneous. As I mentioned since the race, Patrick has spoken with USAC officials at great length and on a number of occasions. It's our understanding that as far as they are concerned, the matter is concluded. And to be clear, in his conversations with USAC, Patrick explained to them his plan to formally downgrade from a 2 to a 3. Our results have been removed from the record and the standings have been adjusted. We've also issued a formal written apology to everyone involved with the Cat 3 race. We'd like to take this moment to reiterate how sincerely sorry we are to those racers who otherwise would have had an opportunity to podium, and to the USAC officials for wasting their time and for compromising the integrity of the race, and to Malcolm and Tim, Tulsa Tough race directors, for turning their race into a scandal and a circus. We love this race. In fact, in all of this, that's the ultimate irony for us. We chose this race because it's so remarkable. Where better than Tulsa Tough to feature a showdown and showcase the lost art of animal spirit. In the future, we hope that we can contribute to the race in a positive, meaningful, and practical fashion. With that in mind, I'd like to conclude with a few thoughts. For the last 5 years, Mania for Speed has existed to promote, highlight, and showcase what we believe to be the greatest sport in the world. We've covered countless races from the Tour de France and the Spring Classics to Speed Week. We published fan club interviews, human athlete showcases, AmFest cribs, along with countless other features unique to our perspective. We featured both individual athletes and entire organizations. We've sponsored and helped to promote a women's team. And yes, we have a particular point of view, one that's not for everyone. As such, we welcome criticism about our style and aesthetic approach. Maybe you're not into it, and that's fine. That's to be expected. It's not for everybody. And yes, we have made mistakes, sometimes super stupid mistakes. But we are not villains and bigots. We approach this project with the best of intentions, we value integrity, and we believe that we have made a positive and substantial contribution to the sport. Unfortunately, in this particular instance, our execution was sloppy and disruptive.
We made a mistake, and we should be held accountable for our actions. We should get in trouble, and we have gotten in trouble. We should be sorry, and we are sorry.